Hey guys, it is Tamara. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about intergenerational trauma and the masks that we wear as a result. You know, intergenerational trauma that begins within the family can really deter, your sense of self. It can also lead to a variety of personality and mental health conditions. For some people, their only defense mechanism is to wear a mask, right? It's to put on a mask to cloak their true intentions, their true feelings, their true thoughts. And sometimes those masks are so good that they actually become that mask, right? They start to exhibit and display traits that matches the masks that are worn. So I want to focus on that today. Now let me point out another thing, guys. I'm currently still not in my office. I go to my office periodically throughout the week, but I'm taking care of my grandmother. I'm helping to take care of her, and then I'm also seeing a lot of clients through teletherapy. So you're probably going to see this surrounding a little bit more than I would like you to, but I will try to get back in the office and get back to my normal videos. But for today, we're going to talk about this topic at my grandma's house. So thank you so much for coming back to my channel. For all of you who are subscribed and participating, thank you so much. And for those who are new, I encourage you to hit the subscribe button so you can stick around with us and be a part of our growing community and our validating community. One of the things I like about our community is that we don't just validate each other, and we don't just say things for the heck of it. We validate the truth, we validate experience, and we validate true emotions on this channel. We also bring knowledge in a variety of ways, right? Personally and socially. We have had experiences that we share with each other within reason and when it's appropriate. So I think it's a great community. So I welcome you if you're new. The benefits, let me tell you what the benefits are. The benefits for you in today's video is that I'm going to highlight masks that we tend to play when we are kind of born from, or we've grown up under the consequences of intergenerational trauma. That's the best way I know how to put it. So, I think that intergenerational trauma is a huge topic, and we don't talk a lot about it. We really need to change that. We talk about trauma as like this umbrella term, and everything flows underneath it, right? Sexual abuse, sexual assault, harassment, boss employee challenges, neighbor issues, right? Client therapist abuse, and vice versa. Like, we use the word trauma to regard a lot of different things: car crashes and bad marriages gone wrong, marriages gone wrong, I should say, and bad relationships. But the word trauma really is not that broad, and that's the problem. The word trauma really does refer to any situation that has occurred in our lives that we are not equipped to deal with, and that has resulted in some kind of physiological, emotional, and psychological change. Okay, there's typically brain changes, neurological and neurobiological changes that happen as a result of the trauma. So it's not like something bad happens and boom, you're traumatized. There's a physiological and neurobiological and neurological change that happens in the brain, and it really does create a cascade of problems and challenges in one's life down the road. So part of the challenge is usually wearing a mask and putting on a defense. And so that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. So let's just go ahead and jump in, all right? So from my experience, and after doing research and working in this field for the past 12 years, I can tell you that there's one mask that people who are traumatized tend to use a lot, and that's the child mask, okay? That's the dependent, needy person, the person who is very, very dependent and very needy. They're not really equipped for life emotionally and psychologically. They don't give themselves credit for being independent, right? They're only independent when they truly need to be, if they're pushed to be, or if they're put in a situation where they have to just be strong and manage things. Other than that, they're going to play the role of the child, and that's going to be the fearful child who needs and constantly wants and desires and needs, and if it's not met, right, if the need is not met, then there's going to be a huge price to pay. And sometimes these individuals can really be physically aggressive and sometimes violent, right, because they're not getting what they want. The mask that they put on is that of a sweet, innocent, dependent, needy child. There are some situations, however, where you step your foot in that situation and you'll be sorry that you did with that person, because they're angry, aggressive, they have a lot of, internal and undercurrent things going on. And so, sometimes these individuals that wear this child mask can be very sneaky and very dangerous. Sometimes narcissists and sociopaths use that child defense mechanism in that mask as well. But people who have a trauma history, they can come across as very dependent and very needy, okay? The next mask is the overly dependent mask, and that's the individual who is ashamed of their trauma, right? They're ashamed of their family history, and so what do? They plop on the mask of over-independence, right? I can do this. I don't need your help, right? It's kind of like this arrogant, I have it all together, right? I'm well pulled together. My clothing is great, and I don't need your help. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't need your help. I don't need your suggestions kind of disposition. It's kind of arrogant, that overly independent facade can really take that individual pretty far. They can get promotions because of that. They can really, marry into some great families because of that facade that they put up. And it can really excel them socially and even financially because they wear the mask so very well. But when you start to meet that person where they are truly at, right, and you start to really get under the surface, you realize, wait a minute, they're not independent after all. They're very, very dependent, manipulative, needy, suffocating, right? That's the next mask. Okay, so the next one is the aggressive mask, and that's the mask where, the individual has a long, long history of trauma and abuse, PTSD. The family lineage is full of abuse, right? There's been alcoholism and sexual abuse, and there's been pornography use, right? That was really, really bad. There's been child molestation. Families that have that long lineage of trauma, the younger generation can begin to take on really a ton of anger and a ton of resentment because of that. And so they become angry and aggressive and defensive towards the world and towards other people. And it's this don't come near me, I don't want to be bothered with you kind of disposition, when the reality is that deep down they want love. Deep down they want compassion and understanding, but they can't access it because they're too afraid, right? These individuals really are needy and they really are dependent. But because they never received what they need at the core of who they are, then they become aggressive and very angry and resentful. So these individuals come across as bullies and they assault people. And if we're not careful, and if they're not careful in how they, manage that, they can become narcissists and sociopaths and really get bad. So it's a really dangerous mask to wear and to put on. Okay. The next mask is the mascot and the clown. And that's the mask. I've talked about it before when I talk about family roles on this channel. I'll try to put some videos in the description box where I talked about the mascot, but the mascot is basically the clown of the family. Okay, everything is a joke, nothing is taken seriously, and these kind of individuals can put on a mask that says, you know what, life is wonderful. Like, I smile at everything, I joke at everything, I laugh at everything because it's wonderful, right? What's wrong with being happy? What's wrong with being, silly and humorous? And this kind of individual really is hurting at the core. They really are resentful, and sometimes they're even intimidated, and they cloak it by being the jokester. It's not funny. You're not the class clown all the time. Like, it's just not okay. But these individuals go around with this mask in hopes that other people will see them and perceive them a certain way, and that's the sad part. All right. The next mask is the manly mask. Okay, and I like to describe this as the macho male, right? This is the individual who wants to come across as such a big man. They want to make sure that people see them as, somebody that doesn't get hurt easy, somebody who doesn't need to talk about feelings, somebody that doesn't need counseling, somebody that doesn't need medical help, somebody that doesn't need to explore and process and evaluate their trauma, somebody who can pick themselves up by their bootstraps and keep moving ahead, right? Those individuals are really headed for a brick wall. They're going to get stuck somewhere in life because they're not accessing those feelings that are in there that are going to pour out at some point, right? Or they're going to build up so much that the individual is going to become burned out, right? Or emotionally unavailable. So, these masks can really be negative because it's not just a mask you put on and you take it off and you put it back on. The mask actually can become that person's personality and way of approaching and dealing with life. That's the bad part. So I'm going to be coming back on Sunday. We're going to talk a little bit more about this because I want to give you a model on, intergenerational intergenerational trauma and the process of recovery. So we will definitely talk about that in the next video. So thank you so much, guys, for being with me in today's video. I apologize that I missed my Wednesday window. I had technical difficulties, and then I was putting out fires left and right, personally, professionally. So there's just been a lot going on. But, you know, I always like coming back to this channel and giving you guys what you want, what you need. You guys kind of keep me grounded in my career, and you kind of give me direction each week, because you ask me questions and you tell me of the things that you need. So, and I like providing that to you guys. I think, you know, this is a resource for you guys, and so I'm glad that this channel is here and that I can maintain it. So let me know in the comment section below what you want to hear next with this topic. But in the meantime, I will have to see you guys next session. Someone's ringing my phone, and that's not good. But I will definitely see you guys next video. All right, bye-bye.